Hi everybody! So you want to draw this circular flow of income diagram in minute detail. How do you go about constructing it? Well, you start by putting households at the top of your diagram. And then down below you want to show firms. So two sectors to start with, households and firms. You then proceed by saying that households provide factors of production to firms in the form of land, labour, capital and enterprise. Firms take these factors of production and combine them to make goods and services. As a reward, households receive factor incomes. It's important to know what those factor incomes are. So each factor of production has a reward to it. So for labour, the reward is wages. For land, the reward is rent. For capital, the reward is interest. And for enterprise, the reward is profit. Alright, so these are the factor incomes that households receive depending on the factor of production they are supplied to businesses. And with this money, they then go and spend it in the economy, and we have expenditure here. Alright? So that is a basic two-sector circular flow. But we know that's too simple as a model of the economy. We know that in the real world, there is the open economy, i.e. there is international trade, and we know that there is a role of government to play as well. And that can lead to other ways in which money can enter the economy and increase the size of the flow, but also not all incomes are spent in the economy. There could be ways in which money could leave. So let's look at some of those. Let's look at some of the leakages, first of all. How some of these incomes may not be spent in the economy. What else may happen? Well, incomes may leave the economy in terms of savings, so call that S. Next, you want to show how money could leave the economy when there is high taxation, T. And furthermore, when domestic consumers spend on imports, M, that's money leaving the economy. Alright, and these three things are all leakages from the circular flow, sometimes called withdrawals. Alright? But at the same time, there is consumer expenditure, and when there is more of that, the economy grows in size, the circular flow is increasing in size. But there are more ways in which money can enter the flow and lead to the size of it increasing. So how could money enter the economy and add to the expenditure in the circular flow? Well, there might be government spending in the economy. There might be firms investing in the economy, right? So spending money on capital goods. There might be foreigners spending money on our goods and services, buying exports. That leads to money entering the circular flow. And these three things are all known as injections. So what you're doing here, you're drawing everything that you need to draw, and you're also showing the examiner you know the injections and the leakages. In the economy, you're also showing the examiner that you know every little thing. You know what factor incomes are, for example. You might even want to write here what the 4 factors of production are to show the examiner you know everything that's going on. The last thing that's worth doing is also showing how we can measure the rate of growth by using a circular flow of income diagram. And there are 3 key measures of growth that the circular flow can help us actually measure. One is known as the goods and services measure. We'll call it the output measure, so I'll put a number 1 there. The second one is known as the income method, so I'll put a 2 here. Right, so measuring the total amount of factor incomes. And number 3 is measuring the total amount of spending in the economy. Right? So each measure will give us the same number because we're measuring the same flow, the same amount of money in the same flow. So whether we're measuring the value of all goods and services produced in the economy, whether we're measuring all of the incomes generated in the economy, all wages, rent, interest and profit in the economy, and totaling it up, or whether we're totaling up all the spending going on in the economy. Consumer spending, government spending, investment spending, and net export spending. That is the expenditure method. So 1, 2 and 3 also give us the 3 different ways of measuring economic growth in a nation. And the last thing you might want to do on this diagram somewhere is to say that if injections are greater than leakages, there'll be economic growth in the country. If leakages are greater than injections, there'll be a fall in economic growth. If injections are equal to leakages, there will be macroeconomic equilibrium. Growth will not increase nor decrease. So this is how you draw this diagram. You can see how detailed it is and well labelled it is and clear it is. So if you ever have to draw this in an exam, that's how to do it. Follow the construction of that and you'll be absolutely fine. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I'll see you all in the next video.